You know what time it is? It's Thursday. It's 3:30. So we're talking to our man, Dr. Jeff Pierce, Michigan Sports and Spine Center. Been doing this for a very long time. Always good to have him in there, and I can't wait to ask him this question. Doc, have you ever seen an albatross in person?
Once.
Once you seen an albatross?
Don't even tell me you witnessed?
Partly.
Oh, partly.
Partly I did. I did witness it.
No way.
We're playing a little scramble out there today over at Northfield, a little golf outing. It was fun. Playing with my dad, big stand. And I got
a lot of love there.
I got the drive, got us out there about 270, 280, 210.
210 in. 210
in. My dad hits a shot. Nice shot. Hit a low liner, rolled up there, played a nice little fade, tucked it in there. We said, okay, that should be on the edge of the fringe, maybe a little bit further on the green. We get up there, can't find it.
No way.
The shot was hit too well to just disappear. So we're looking, around the fringe, off the back to the rough. Like maybe it went, maybe we didn't see it. Maybe it rolled through it, skipped through the green and rolled off the back and we didn't see it. Don't you know, John from Bridgestone or Bridgewater goes in the hole, pulls the ball out. It is a Team Edwards albatross. What say you, sir?
That is awesome.
Albatross or go ahead.
It's awesome. But I have a fun story, but you finish what you want to say.
No, I was going to say albatross or hole-in-one. Which one's more impressive?
Hole-in-one.
Hole-in-one still?
I mean, albatross is more rare.
Let's say my dad had hit the drive and...
No, I'm loving it. It's like a no-hitter with two pitchers going.
Okay, it still counts.
It counts. Edwards get all credit on June 6th?
June 6th.
See, I see it as like a 14-inning no-hitter. Because you got to have that perfect drive, and then you basically need a hole-in-one after that.
Yeah, it's tough.
I got to tell you a funny story.
All means.
Everybody knows Scotty Bowman, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm name dropping. I'm calling it out.
I told you, this is the Mr. Name Drop.
No, these are all real stories. These are people I'm involved with. So we're at the golf outing up at Grand Traverse. It was the first year.
Tremendous course.
It was actually a terrible day. It was 9/11, and we were there. I'm teamed up with Scotty Bowman. We're 210 yards out. He pulls out. This is like, right? Long time ago, 20 plus years ago. Scotty pulls out some funky fairway driver that we didn't see before, and he literally lays it on for our team about 10 feet from the hole. You're so full of blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you that was pure luck. He goes, no, Doc, that ain't luck. That's my skill. I go, fine, do it again. He hits the second ball, which I gave my ball because we're a scramble. He puts it within that one.
Wow.
Whoa.
Scotty Bowman, we're about 210 yards out. Isn't that crazy?
Legend
but we did not put it in the hole.
And the links.
I asked you a little bit about my back before we came on the show. Back's been a little tight lately. I've been in the gym a little bit too much. Muscles getting overdeveloped, so back's tight. Speaking of back tightness, 2 Tigers have back injuries. One is Kelly Carpenter, who the Tigers have been waiting to figure it out this season. Not necessarily figured it out yet, but the injury is described as lumbar spine inflammation when Carpenter landed on the injured list Wednesday. Talk about what exactly that lumbar spine stress fracture is for Kelly Carpenter, what that means for him this rest of the season.
So we talked about it on Tuesday on D-Mac's show. I mean, there's different parts, right? So there's stress fractures. So the anatomy, not to get through, bogging you down with anatomy, but there's different parts of the spine, right? So there's the part where it's the joint or the facet where they kind of roll over each other. And people will hear the word spondy. We throw spondy out there a lot. What does that mean? That means there's a slight fracture in the joint or the facet, and sometimes it's displaced or non-displaced. I'm assuming this is a non-displaced fracture, so that means it's still well aligned. So then you're looking for the healing. The big thing I was more worried about was why did it happen? There was no trauma. There was no injury. They start researching back. Maybe he did something a couple days earlier or a week earlier, and this just continued to develop. The inflammation part is no big deal. That's just inflammation around the injury. The problem is, where is that stress fracture? Because, like they're worried, is it a 2-week thing? No, it's not a 2-week thing. These things can be up to months of recovery. So we need to find out a little bit more. They're keeping it kind of hush hush right now.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping it's like on the mend of the minimal non-displaced stress fracture. But you're looking at the joints in the vertebral bodies, the spinal, the bony part of the spine, where there's things called the transverse process, which is kind of branches off the spine, and there's the spinous process that comes about the back. Like when you feel your spine, that's what you're feeling is the spinous process. If it's something like that, it's not as important, and it's a quicker recovery. But if it's within that joint, that facet part where we talk about the spondy, then it leads to more. Like, I think you guys remember I talked to you about the Cranbrook goalie who stood on his head and they won the championship out of nowhere, true Cinderella team. The goalie had the same injury, and it was lingering for about 3 to 4 months before he came in to see us. And we actually had to put him into a hard, rigid shell to recover because we just had to slow the kid down. I mean, he's a 17-year-old kid, highly active. We're putting you in a shell. It's like casting him so he doesn't create more problems. So I haven't heard the update, but if you see him start walking around a firm shell, that's a precautionary thing, but it's probably the most aggressive conservative treatment. It should not need surgery, hopefully, in this issue.
Hopefully not. Asking another question about the Detroit Tigers. Jack Flaherty, he exited the game on Tuesday. Big thing with Jack Flaherty. He's second best ace right now second best pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. He's actually on Cy Young tear kind of pace, if you will. He exited the game. It's back tightness, it's back soreness. Once again, they gave us that minutia type term. What are we looking at long term with Jack Flaherty with this back situation? Because he's a guy that either one, he can stay and pitch very well for us and we can have him and make a playoff run, or two, we can trade him and get bang for our buck to bring in some bats. But we need him regardless. What's going on with Jack Flaherty?
So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. I think hopefully it's a softer injury. If we know any more detail, I don't think he's had any ridiculous signs. So like I talk about back injuries, right? You're worried about red flags. You're worried about radicular pain, meaning pain, numbness, or tingling down the leg that's radiating. I think he's more of inflammation and back soreness is the way it's been described. So hopefully that's just what we call mechanical back pain versus radicular, where we throw out the words bulging disc, herniations, all that kind of stuff. When we talk about mechanical, we look at the ligaments. We look at, when we talk about the secret cocktails, what the trainers can do, things like that. Can we do injections? Yeah, we can do injections. We start talking more and more about the peptides and the regenerative and the biologics. These things are speeding up recovery, which I think are starting to become more mainstream. Like I'm dealing with like some of the guys in Hollywood where, I just got called last week, was actually last Thursday, where one of the performers was shooting, going out for a month, and he's got to get better yesterday. And someone's talking to him about, well, you might as well have surgery because it's not going to go away, which was totally the wrong advice. It was just like, okay, the quick fix, we can still get you quick fix with everything else that's going on. So, overall, I think it's more mechanical. Those things are when your body's right. Because these guys are throwing, what's his velocity? About, near 100, 95, 100. Yeah. They got to have perfect mechanics, and the spine is, fortunately, unfortunately, a huge part of that. So even though he's feeling good and could function and walk around and enjoy his life, when you're going into that rotation, when you're firing, what's he going to throw, 20, 30 pitches? He's got to be on for all 20 to 30 of those pitches.
Yeah, 100%. And Jack Flaherty's been a guy that's benefited heavily from Chris Fetter as his pitching coach. Tonight, the NBA Finals start. Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks, a guy that we've talked about.
You're really running the list. I thought we were going to talk about cars and cigars and all that.
Well, we can get to cars and cigars. We can finish with that. But, a lot of people are asking about Kristaps Porzingis. Now, I'm not going to ask you the same question that we've been asking. He has a calf injury, which to me reminds me of when Kevin Durant had the calf situation going on with Golden State and they played Toronto Raptors. He sits out, tries to come back, comes back a little early, and he eventually tears his Achilles. With Kristaps Porzingis coming back after this calf injury, is there a chance for an Achilles situation much like Kevin Durant, or is that kind of a one-off situation with him?
That was a tighter timing, right? He's been sitting pretty comfortable on the sidelines. Like we pushed. I think if Boston was in trouble, we would have brought him back a little bit earlier. But they did well. They swept. They swept, and so they had the benefit of sitting him. So I'm assuming he's coming back. They don't need him from game one unless he's 100%. or what I say, 0 pain, 90% better, you should be out there playing. I think he's there. I think he's probably better off than Duran because he's been, I'm assuming 7 days a week, couple times a day, he's with those trainers getting that treatment and that secret cocktail to be even healthier. So his Achilles should be all stretched out. I should see him being healthy and strong and rested, and I think he'll come out. I'd be surprised if anything bad happens. I think he's going to perform above everything because he's had the chance to get that rest, which is huge at this time. His timing might be a little off, but I think after the first half, he'll be right back in that rhythm.
I agree with you on that.
All right, Doc, before we get to cars and cigars, we were talking about backs. I'm going to ask you a little bit of a personal and professional question at the same time. Do you utilize a chiropractor, and do you recommend it for rehab for some of your athletes that you fix?
Great question.
So I have a lot of chiropractic friends, right? We work very hand in hand. For the history of me, I am sports medicine. I'm an osteopath, so I'm very comfortable with my hands. We call it manual treatments. I do manipulation. We may put Braylon on the floor here after and fix his
for
stuff.
real, my back, man. I'm telling you.
I'm next.
I fix my swing.
But the answer is yes. They are an integral part of a treatment program, right? So when you talk about mechanical back pain, for sure. Radicular, we kind of shake our head a little bit. You have a place. We have systems at Michigan Sports and Spine that we can evaluate when it's okay for that manual treatment. The chiropractors you got to stay in your lane, right? You stay in your lane, you do what's right, you deal with the mechanical, the soft tissue, all that stuff, and do it right. The 3-minute crack and go, I'm not a fan of. But at our level, at your level, at my level, you have people that are more concerned, more understanding of full body mechanics. So the simple answer is yes, they are part of the treatment team with my system. Is that kind of
it's come a long way.
Circle?
My mom was going to go to Palmer in Iowa to be a chiropractor, and I just remember in the 90s and early 2000s it was witchcraft and snake oil, and I'm pretty addicted to chiropractor crack videos. I love the stuff.
Yeah, I can't believe how they blow up.
But you either see hot women or athletes on the table, and so I'm just curious how much that has.
You say you're addicted to crack?
What's that?
You say you're addicted to crack?
I am addicted to crack, man.
Oh, so I sneezed. I sneezed. I must have missed the chiropractic part. I'm sorry.
So, but I've always been curious. Is this something that teams are utilizing on top of their rehab with sports medicine as well?
No, I mean they're pretty much been part of the team for years. I mean, especially with the Lions. The Red Wings. They had a good, like when we were in the day, we had really good masseuse that did some manual treatment. Our therapists. There's physical therapy that's actually trained in manual techniques, which is, you're generically saying the crack, but it's mobilization of the joints, proper mobilization. I will throw a big caution out when you're cracking your own neck or doing that quick crack by a chiropractor. What's happening is you're actually moving the segments above and below the problem because those are the areas that move easily. So if you don't have someone who's skilled that's isolating out that segment that's the problem, you're actually creating hypermobility, which causes laxities, which causes future problems down the road. So in your 20s, 30s, you're like, yeah, whatever. When you're hitting, some of our ages, you got to be very specific in who you lend your spine to.
And the pop is a release of methane gas. Is that correct?
No.
How does that work? Because I know that everybody. Can we clear some things up? What is the sound of the pop?
Methane
what is that? It's a
gas.
release of some sort of gas, right?
It's two big bones colliding at high velocity and popping.
Nothing being released from there.
No. There is some of it. There is, most of the time it's ligaments popping. It's usually, sometimes if you have advanced arthritic changes or big changes, there will be the sound of the bones moving on each other. But for the most part, it is like an error, or it's I'm not getting into technical terms, but a lot of times it's the ligaments and the surrounding tissues around there getting a release.
I'm happy to get a definitive answer on that because I feel like I've been debating that with friends for just decades.
We'll pull out some research, and I don't want to get too deep into it.
Get deep into some cars and cigars, maybe?
I would go in and say one last thing before we get into cars and cigars is the teams that get it in sports, they implement those people that people want to use. Like when I was with the Cleveland Browns, like we obviously had massage therapists, but there was no chiropractic work. There was no soft tissue massage place or ART, active release therapy, as a lot of people come to know it. Like, we didn't have that, but when I got to the Jets, it was, we want to make you feel comfortable. So we want to bring your people in, and if your people are good, we'll utilize your people, and you will see people go to ART work. People have chiropractic work. People do massage work. You fall into that same type of line. 100%. And I did it all, and your body feels better throughout the season. You're playing 16 games, which is now 17 games, which is now 18, 19 weeks. You got to have a system in place. And the teams that win, they have that system in place, 100%.
Yeah, we're actually working on a system. I'll let you know when we're done. But basically, that's it. It would be a triage. Like, I want to, like, for the public, like he's saying, like for football, when there's an injury, how many people are walking out there? Does everybody know what each one of those people do? Yeah. You have a whole system, and where you fall into that type of injury is the type of person you see. So what we have is more of a triage. We'll, like, listen to you, what's going on, and then we'll fit you in where it needs to be. Is it you just therapist? Is it massage? Is it you need more, serious injections? Like, there's a whole series of stuff, and there's we have a method to our craziness over there.
All right, here we go. The Michigan Lottery Amphitheater, as it used to be called. I know a little something now, and now I think it's back to DTE. So
no, it's Pine Knob.
You were doing so well.
No. I'm talking about the amphitheater. It's Michigan Lottery Amphitheater. It went to Freedom Hill.
Freedom Hill.
That's what it was.
DTE turned back to Pine Knob.
Yeah. Cars and Cigars. You got Joe Figari over there. You got Dario over there. I know some of the heavy hitters big time. Tell us about Cars and Cigars and why you love the event. I love the event. We actually were there, as Maz remembered, 2 years ago, live on set. We left at 4 o'clock, which was perfect time to turn up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think we should push again for next year. I'll try to talk to the guys. But it's a great event. We've been there since the very beginning, when it was just small and a handful of us, and now it fills up, and I think it's the biggest event of the night. Hats off to those guys. I'm not a big cigar guy. I'm a big car guy, so I'm half of it. And it's really it's a lot of guys for the right cause. They're raising a ton of money, doing all the right thing. It's a little
education in South America, somewhere is the country.
Well, it's here. They do a lot. A lot of it's for food support here. But then the guy they get the cigars from, which I won't promote, but they help his town there too. So there's somebody going back to where they're actually making the cigars and making a big difference. So I don't even know what year this is. Maybe 10. But it's up there. We've been there every year.
I think it was 8 2 years ago when we went, and it was out there. It was so maybe 8, 10 or 11, yeah.
Yeah, so we were part of it at the beginning. We've been supporting it, and really it's my buddies from Our Magazine are the ones who support it, and Tom's been a good friend for a long time, and he's those guys making a big difference in the community, which with my charity, they've always been supportive of my charity too for the disabled athletes. So it's a give and take, but he's taken his to this level, and that's the difference.
I love that you brought that up. The event is fun. My favorite part of the event, though, Anderson and Di, is the dressing. It's a lot of peacocking, as they call it, going on out there. The dress are smooth, the suits, the sport coats, the smokers' jackets, as you would call them. If you're going to Cars and Cigars, you gotta be wearing something fly. What are you dressing in, sir?
I'm going low profile.
You going low profile?
Yeah.
Are you driving your car that's not too low profile?
Oh, I'm going. I'm more casual this year than I've been running all day, so I'll change out of this monkey outfit, but I'll
When do you leave Cars and Cigars? Because I know some guys, they get to stand out there till 11. Some people leave at 5, and some people around like that 7 to 9 range. Where are you at?
So I was told to be there by 6. It starts at 4.
Okay.
Because I know I'm notoriously late. The actual event starts at 7. But I have an issue up at Pine Knob. There's I cover all the concerts, so it's concert season.
Ooh,
so Hootie and the Blowfish are out there tonight.
Hootie's there today?
Hootie's there today.
Darius
country
Rucker?
now?
You said what?
Isn't he country now?
He's always
Hootie tonight.
He's always been country.
Hootie's at Pine Knob.
Where's Hootie?
So I'll have to be back there helping out with some of the production people, and it'll be a fun night.
I gotta apologize to my mom. My mom used to listen to Hootie and Blowfish and country music back in like the 80s and 90s. And what is
She's
this?
ahead of her time.
And now I find myself listening to country music. So shout out to Mom. You were right, as always. What am I going to do? You a country music guy?
I hate to admit that in the last couple of years, I've opened to it a little bit, but no, I am not a country music guy.
I think music, like good music is good music. Like good music hits your ear a certain way. It doesn't matter what genre it is. Like good music. I was listening to some Japanese jazz or something like that, and it was just like fire. I was like, who would have known? You know what I'm talking about?
I would love to tell you.
Yeah, like that stuff is fire. So like good music hits the airwave a certain. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, I think country is just doing this for 25 years now. Treating the entertainers. I've always enjoyed covering country. Everybody's been great. I mean, I've had some fortunate moments over my years. I've probably met every entertainer there is, but country just is a little bit. They're just a little bit more open and homeboy, and
I got it.
Yeah,
I like it.
No, it's great. I'm looking forward to meet him. Just a Hootie and the Blowfish. I go back to when I was in my residency. That I don't know, to study and to do whatever. Hootie and the Blowfish was kind of a go-to cassette.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, one more story,
please.
My family, who's very involved in the Guardian Alarm world.
Stay out.
Yes, they're the ones who originated it. My uncle and all that. But anyhow, so we're going through their house for some of the old Guardian Alarm stuff, and in one of the pockets of the Guardian Alarm jacket, or I think it was in the pocket, my son found it. Pulls out a Bob Seger Night Moves cassette.
Night Moves.
Nice.
Can you believe that? It was like so like we found gold. It was so funny.
It is gold. that is gold, and so is this show, man. We always appreciate having you on this show. Dr. Jeff Pierce with Michigan Sports and Spine Center, man. Always good to have you every Thursday.